Greetings.
Salutations.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Ken.
And welcome to the FrenZone.
Hey everybody, welcome to the FrenZone. As you can obviously see by what Austin is wearing here, today we're talking about VR.
So excited. Yeah. So, whether you have a Vive, an Oculus, or
PlayStation.
Welcome to the revolution.
Yeah.
For a start. I mean, really, we are on the cusp of something pretty extraordinary here.
Well, VR's been around for quite a long period of time.
Since I was a kid, I remember there being like little VR arcade games at those big Palladium places.
Well, back when I was 20, we had a VR experience in one of the local arcades for Doom.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the original Doom. I mean, that's going back a while, but
yeah. And as you know, I mean, graphically, we've improved over the years. Our computing power is increased exponentially, and we're now at a point where we can create virtual reality worlds in home commercially.
Yeah. Well, this is like the first time it's ever really been, a commercial success. And it's amazing. I mean, you can now step into a video game rather than just watching it on a TV screen.
I know. There's something about relinquishing that passivity and throwing yourself into the experience. I mean, you heard a lot of words being thrown around like immersion and... Okay, well, you get one word thrown around a lot, which is immersion. And it's...
I mean, it's popular. Everybody's doing it. You look at all the major YouTubers, everybody is doing it. Everybody's playing VR.
Well, not even just playing VR. I mean, you can now get VR on your little phone. Google Box, for instance, is a cardboard box that you can stick your pixel in, and you've got 360-degree vision. Add on top of that motion control, and now haptic feedback. I mean, this is... We're stepping closer and closer into the Matrix here. This is pretty cool stuff to me.
We're what? 10 years away from plugging something into yourself?
If that, actually, Ray Kurzweil, look him up. Ray Kurzweil, says that we will hit the singularity by 2029. Google agrees. What this basically means is that our minds are going to become one with computers.
Yeah,
we will
definitively
and ostensibly live forever. Whoa.
Yeah, a little off topic though.
Little off topic. Anyway,
so
back to the topic at hand.
I guess the major question is it? Do we think this is going to last? Is VR going to continue to progress forward, or is it going to be like so many other things where it goes for a little bit and then the popularity drops off and now all of a sudden it just becomes a defunct technology?
I don't think that will happen, and for a few reasons. Number one, the way it will change the way we can shop is already underway. Jack Ma of Alibaba.com, a multi-billionaire, has invested in VR shopping technology. So essentially what you can do is you can take a virtual reality tour of some of the greatest malls in the world and some of the greatest department stores, Macy's, David Jones, Nordstrom's, and you can walk through just as you would in a video game or in real life, and then you can walk up to the rack where you see the item that you might be drawn to, and you can just click, 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 add to shopping cart. VR will end up permeating our entire way of life. They said the same thing about the television in regards to the radio, saying, look, no one's going to buy these TV things, moving pictures. What nonsense is that?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about like something that's the forefront now of technology. Not only just virtual reality, but augmented reality inclusive in that as well.
Augmented reality scares me a little bit. I'm not sure. Have you seen a show called Black Mirror?
Yes.
You've seen the episode where it was like a Halloween episode, and it was specifically about this guy who gets hired to test this new augmented reality game by some Japanese developer that looks way too much like Hideo Kojima. And he gets this little node placed in the back of his head, and he starts with a little whack-a-mole game, and they're like, oh, how's the pixelation on that? It's like, oh yeah, it looks like a little 8-bit Gopher game. And then you go, okay, we're going to increase the resolution, and it gets to the point where he can't tell the difference between an augmented reality image being projected into his brain and the reality images. But what ends up happening, major spoilers here, the node goes nuts, and the computer program that digs through your own mind to find your worst fears ends up working against him and creating the perfect horror experience. It was like a living PT. And we're getting so close to that. Meanwhile, I'm still screaming from the rooftops, Konami, get your shit together and release Silent Hill in VR. Fuck.
It's not going to happen though.
No, don't tell me that.
They backboarded. They backboarded it. I mean, it's gone.
It's not gone. It's still happening. They're just not telling us anything. And I've gone way off topic again. Look, VR is the future, and the only way I can justify that is by saying that the VR headsets, they will go.
Yeah. Well,
virtual reality, augmented reality as an experience, as a way of consuming entertainment and information, the headsets are going to go. Eventually what we'll have are tiny little orb-like rooms that we project images out into, and they will display as you're interacting with it. And
you're talking about a holodeck.
No, I'm talking about a virtual reality room. Holodecks are probably still another good 50, 100 years away. But if Ray Kurzweil gets his way and we see the singularity and we all merge as one mind and we have the computing power of the artificial intelligence, who knows?
So you've got, of course, in the VR market, there's 3 sets. Like we said, the Vive, Oculus Rift, and the PlayStation.
PlayStation VR is the low-end market. Like, I'm not going to call it bargain basement, but
it's low end. It's lower graphics. It's lower cost. The headset itself, though, is the most comfortable out of the 3.
Yeah, easily the most comfortable and arguably the best designed in terms of user interface and accessibility. You don't need to take your glasses off. It's a great little headset.
Yeah.
The motion tracking leaves something to be desired.
Well, because it's based on their regular motion tracking that they've already been using with the PlayStation Move, and with the actual wireless controllers and everything. It's light based. It's based on the PlayStation camera, everything else.
Well, I mean, you've got to hand it to that team though for getting them to sell basically a flop product. I mean, they managed to move how many moves and cameras after this thing?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, okay, business aside, PSVR, once you're in it,
awesome. It's
awesome.
Still great.
Still great. The little bits of lower resolution and
not as much of a big deal as
you don't really begin to notice it. If you've got a PlayStation 4 as opposed to a Pro, you will get the occasional frame drop.
Yeah.
Not in PSVR so much of a frame drop, but that there are certain textures that won't load until you're close up enough to see them. Whereas with the PS4, you've got that extra processing power, and it also eliminates some of the motion sickness. Now, having personally tested HTC Vive at a Microsoft store or Windows store, I think they're called now, in Chinook Mall in Calgary when I went back last year. And that was my first proper virtual reality experience, and they did the little demo with the whale and the shooting game and archery game, and I gotta say, I was hooked. But that was a $3,000 rig, an $800 virtual reality set. I mean, it was top of the line, and
that's the other point to make is that Oculus and Vive, PC. That's it.
PC.
They're PC, which means that sure you can do a lot more with them. They have potentials for being far better graphically and everything else. However, you gotta have a top of the line rig already.
Yeah.
If your computer is crap, guess what? Your VR is crap.
And the poorer the performance of the computer, the more it adds into the motion sickness.
However, though, their tracking systems being like infrared
are superb.
They're awesome.
The tracking is fantastic. I've also noticed that if you mount your PlayStation camera on top of a regular TV, the subtle vibrations, especially if it's just a singular mount, as opposed to a mount on each side, you'll get a slight wobble. It's almost imperceptible, but if you're fucking around behind your TV, switching cords and cables around, and then you go to place your PSVR and you go, man, I feel like I'm swaying a little bit, it's probably because your camera is actually moving, so maybe look into that. But I mean, crux of the conversation. Look, we love VR.
Yeah.
VR is
Oh yeah.
so cool.
VR is amazing. Unfortunately, I fall into that small category where motion sickness is a problem.
I believe it'll get better over time. A large part of this has to do, I think, with the incongruity between your brain and your body.
Yeah,
so what
it's
you're,
because your brain's moving, but your body's not, essentially. Your brain thinks you're moving, and your body's not. So yeah, it creates this whole really bad situation.
Oh no, it shakes you to your gut. Games like Here They Lie and Resident Evil 7, where you are constantly moving around, some people will experience motion sickness. I myself, especially when starting a new VR title, I will get a little rumbly in my tummy, and it's not a great feeling. I will get a little sick, especially if I hadn't eaten. There are ways to circumvent this.
Absolutely.
Eating ginger, taking like Gravol, anything like that. But honestly, the best thing you can do is have a top of the line PC or a PlayStation Pro, because that will greatly
Improve the
reduce
experience.
the motion sickness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing.
But now, I mean, like, everybody's getting on the VR bandwagon.
Oh,
YouTube's now updated their PlayStation app, where you can now use your PSVR to watch 360-degree videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can effectively say it's not going to go down the route of being a defunct technology anymore.
No, it has such a long way to go.
Well, there are so many companies now that have invested so much time, so much money, and are seeing returns on it, where you're not going to ever get away from it. It's just going to try and keep continually improving.
Well, and this is the thing, and there was a recent panel discussion where they basically said, look, the way VR is right now, the technology is very neat, but it has such a far way to go.
Oh yeah.
Look at our modern televisions. I mean, we've essentially compressed every modern television and electronic device into about the size of your phone. Well, your phone. Same thing happened with radios. This radio back here behind us is a 1942 antique RCA radio. It's old and
Very
big and heavy as all hell. And that's with the internal electronic components removed. I can now have a radio app on my phone. Your phones become Swiss Army knives.
Well,
You'll probably find glasses, or what Sony is looking into is contact lenses that can shoot and record video.
but once again, that's getting into more of the augmented reality aspect of it.
Well, who's to say that augmentation and virtual could not go hand in hand? I mean, maybe it's simply changing a filter, because augmentation is just taking what you're looking at and then adding items in, whereas virtual reality is completely obscuring your vision. Who's to say they couldn't design a contact lens that would be capable of that?
Well, there would be.
I'm pretty sure that they're working on it. Michiko Okaku said he personally has friends that are working on this, that by 2030, 2040, this is the kind of technological advancements that you'll see making its way to the consumer market.
Yeah.
Which is, again, amazing.
It's awesome.
In
Okay,
awe.
VR is the future. That's just it. We're just going to call it right here. VR is the future. It's the future of gaming. It's the possible future of movies.
Oh, absolutely. People like
there's a scary experience.
Yeah.
So you're in the middle and say, we'll stay away from horror. And we'll say, okay, it's the new Michael Bay film. And you pop on your headset, and the explosions are not just happening in front of you with what you're looking at, but hey, you look to the side, and there's stuff going off here. There's other things going off over there. To follow the action star, you literally have to sit there and watch him go from here, and you turn to watch him go over there.
Yeah. And you'll probably begin to notice that you will have less and less action stars as we begin to exercise our own autonomy in entertainment, as we've been doing with video games. And video games have been laying the groundwork for this for decades. And what we'll see is a slow transition over the next 20, 30 years where television and cinema becomes interactive to the point of imperceptibility. You will be able to slip into the latest Avengers movie as your favorite character and live out that experience. And
Well, they already have that. they've not the Avengers, so to speak, but there was an action movie that came out that was, I can't remember the title of it now, but that came out that was all entirely shot from a first person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The entirety of the film. So it's essentially, and if you were to say put on a VR headset in that kind of adaptability and see your hands and see this person doing all these kinds of crazy things as that person,
Yeah.
it blows the mind to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff. I am so excited to see where it's going to go in the future. I'm still waiting for a holodeck, and then really that's the crux of this whole thing is we are trying to fulfill that dream, being able to step into another world at will.
Where it's not limited to a headset.
No.
So okay, well then where's it going to go? Is it going to go Star Trek? And we're talking about just rooms and worlds where you step into them? Or is it going to go Matrix? Is it going to go where you plug into a new reality?
I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna put my $5 on saying that we are more likely to enter a computer world than we are to. The VR thing will be around for a while, but I'm almost certain that this is to help us as a species transition to a state where we are comfortable popping in and out of worlds. The very idea that you plug into something sounds really invasive.
Well, see, that's where I think it's going to be. I would love to see it go that way. However, I think you're going to get so many other people and so many pressure groups and so many interest groups sit there and go,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that. I'd rather walk into a space.
Well, that's a transhumanist argument and a topic for another day.
A topic for another day.
So until then, we're just going to say thank you for sharing your time with us.
And we will see you again.
Farewell.